Oh, here we go. Oh my god! Oh wow! Hey there guys, Mystery here, and today we're going to be talking about mods, more specifically my personal mod setup, every mod that I'm currently running, 60 plus of them, and what they do, with the idea that being that you can go and download these mods for yourself and start incorporating some of them to make your own little modded Darktide experience, which if you are a PC player, remembering of course that console players can't mod Darktide unfortunately, I highly encourage you to do that if you're a PC player. It's a ton of fun, as you saw in the intro clip there. Now, there is another option. You can do this all with your own blood, sweat, and tears as I have, or you can simply join the Mr. E members, help support me, support Bernie, support the channel. You'll get into the Discord, which not only has a great community full of people who have dumb chud ideas like, what if we replaced every jibbing animation in the game with an Ogre and Frag Bomb? But also it has a full download of my entire mod pack setup, including my settings, so you can just copy and paste and be ready to go in like 5 minutes. So if that's something that's within your means and it sounds interesting to you, then it's there as an option, but no pressure. If you are just starting out modding and you just want to see the basics of what to do, I'll link in the description a tutorial that I put up less than 10 minutes to get yourself started modding, understanding how to install and like get these mods put in the right folders. And I'll also put a tutorial down there to creating my custom UI from scratch so that you can just do all this. 95% of my current mod setup can be done without copying and pasting from the, you don't have to be a member at all, right? It's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort to get everything tweaked the same way that I have. So no pressure there. It's totally doable via your own efforts if that's more your speed. So with all that said, let's start right here with my entire mods list. I'm going to give this a nice slow scroll for you so you can just simply screenshot it at any time or pause the video at any time and get an idea of all the mods that I'm running. I'm going to be going over every mod that I have in this list one by one and explaining what they do in some way, shape, or form so that you can understand why I have them in my mod set. I like to think that I have trimmed a lot of fat out of here. I don't run anything that I think is super extraneous. I have a couple here that are probably not anything that a normal player would want to use, but if you're a content creator or you just want to be able to take cool screenshots or get useful information, that could be really good for you. The more invested in Darktide you are, and the more invested in like min-maxing and knowing stats and stuff, the more you'll want some of these mods. So yeah, there is all the mods I'm running now. Not all of these are going to appear, are going to do anything like really crucial in gameplay. Some of them have only one tiny small effect, but we'll be going over each of them and what they do so you can decide what to include in your mod pack. And I'll give you my sort of recommendations as well as to which of these are like absolutely crucial. I'll say absolutely crucial when we come across those. All right, so let's go up here at the top and let's start with Darktide mod framework. This is absolutely crucial because this is the mod that makes everything else work. If you don't have this, the game just crash, or like you can't mod at all. So there you go. Darktide local server. I literally only run Darktide local server here because I'm running audio plugin, because I'm running silence obnoxious sounds. I run all three of these mods because silence obnoxious sounds here is able to turn off really loud noises that otherwise just drown out the rest of the audio. The one that I am primarily interested in right now is the noise that it makes when you spam the left click on stabs and it goes pop, 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 over and over and over. So I turn that off, and you can turn off tons and tons of like the dink noises when you're hitting armor, coughing, or you're stepping in pox gas. You know, sometimes you just don't want all that audio stimulation. You want to keep that your ears nice and clear so you can hear trappers and stuff. So that is able to really cut down a lot of noises. This is very similar to another mod I'll look at in a second. So that's the first what those mods all are set up to do. Audio plugin, by the way, this can also be used with the local server to add in custom audio effects to the game. So if you wanted to make your Ogren say like, "What are you doing in my swamp?" when he taunts or something, you can do that using those mods. Psych Ward here. So Psych Ward and improved character menu. Let's go back to where we were a second ago. So Psych Ward and improved character menu combined to give us this UI here. Improved character menu gives us this nice, lovely layout, including just better organization when we are actually in our character's inventory menu, etc. this mod organizes these, and then Psych Ward is what gives us the ability to use these buttons down here, which can just simply teleport us around. We can just go to the inventory on any character without actually loading into the hub and going to the character. We can just teleport directly to the meat grinder on whatever difficulty you want to play at. We can go straight to Mortis Trials. We can go straight into the mission board and go straight into a game from here without ever loading into the Morningstar hub. So this can cut down on a ton of loading and like a ton of wait times, especially if you have slower internet or a slower PC that doesn't like to load over and over again. So that is a super, super powerful one in that sense. We also have the ability, you know, to just go straight back into the meat grinder where we were, like that, and then just resume from where we were because of that. Now we have down here Alf's DMF extensions. I guess I should go back up here. Alf's DMF extensions. All this does is it makes the, well, I say all it does, it's a very, very elaborate mod, but what it does is it makes everything else pretty and sort of stylized in the same way. So you have a very standardized template across all mods where like the tabs at the top here organized so you're not scrolling for 1 million light years, and it just generally makes it a more pleasant UI experience, the modding side of things. This also has a bunch of other stuff you can do, but I'm not appraised at that just yet, but it's a really, really cool mod, and I definitely think this one is going to appreciate over time. AFK down here. So AFK, the game by default, if you hang out for 5 minutes in the Morningstar and you don't move, it'll kick you, right? It'll kick you back to the character selection thing, and aforementioned, right, you're loading over and over again, AFK can just delay that forever. So I think I've got my AFK set to 3, so or maybe it's only 10 minutes, but whatever it is, I can spend a very, very long time AFK in the Morningstar before it kicks me, which is much nicer. I like that way better. I don't understand why it tries to kick you. Auspex Logus. I believe this one might be exclusive to my mod pack. I think this is a private mod that someone has shared with me through TDOPS. But Auspex Logus, there's other mods out there that do similar things to what it does, but it will solve every minigame puzzle in the game. And that might be cheating to some people, but I have simply 3,600 hours and I don't care to solve those little minigames anymore. Plus, Skitarii will do it for you, so who cares? Better Enemy Tag. Now, this is a very interesting one. Better Enemy Tag here allows me to... Uh-oh, there's a boss coming. But when I tag this enemy, you know how normally when you tag an enemy, it makes it so there's a red skull over them and it puts a distance to them? Both of those things are extraneous, right? You don't care what the actual distance in meters is to this gas spawn. It's right there. We can see it. But also, more importantly, it doesn't put that skull over it, which can block your headshots. So Better Enemy Tag just removes that and makes them get outlined in red. There you go. Really simple. We also have Better Nameplate. This is something that appears in games when I'm in here with you know, AI or players. It will make their nameplate much smaller. So you can set any number of settings here. You can reduce the visibility such that they don't have like as big a font. You can make it so it doesn't show parts of their names. What I have it currently set up to is only showing the icon, so that I can just look around and say, okay, there is the Zealot, there is the Arbites, right? Rather than like looking at, oh, there is Suplieutenant Purbasi to 1213 -5 or whatever, you know, just huge ass fucking name plus huge long title blocking half of my screen with how big it is. You know, I prefer to keep this minimalist, so I cut that down with that thing. Okay, better buff management. Okay, there's a couple of mods in here that are related to my custom UI setup, meaning everything you see in the center of the screen right now. So for instance, the purple buffs down there, my stamina bars, my hexagon in the middle that has my cooldown, all that stuff. I'll briefly explain how all this works, but then for the rest of the time, I'll just refer to it as, hey, this mod has to do with my custom UI setup. So currently, as you can see, I have a cooldown timer in the middle of the hexagon. That is my ultimate cooldown. Below that is my ammo count, my magazine, and my reserve. On the top right corner, that's my blitzes, so my throwing knives or my grenades or whatever I've got. Then I've got the stim. That's my red stim. That'll go away once the actual stim is expended. Then I've got my deployable, so my med crate there. So all that information, plus I've got my power gauge, which is down on the bottom right corner. Move that down there below the hexagon so it's nice and tucked away. And then below that, I've got my stamina gauge, which I've removed the scorings from because I think they're ugly. I then have my dodge count below that. And then below that is where we find better buff management, my purple buffs. Better buff management, what it allows you to do is curate your buff list so that you don't have like 1 quadrillion buffs filling the entire bottom like part of the screen. If you ever watch any unmodded Darktide gameplay, you'll just see a huge long list of buffs that scroll all the way from that bottom left corner across to like the middle of the screen, and it's really, really obnoxious and cluttered, and you can't tell what the fuck you're looking at. So better buff management is able to nuke that hard and curate exactly what buffs that you want there to actually be, and which I've spent a lot of effort to get that down to exactly the ones I really care about seeing. All right, so from Better Buff Management, that's one of my custom UI setups, and you can find, again, information on how to create my custom UI is in the description with a link to the video. Broker Stim Timer. This is a timer in seconds for how long your stim has on cooldown for the broker, so that you're not just like guessing. Camera Free Flight. You can simply, just press the F10 key. I paused the game using a different mod right now, but you can press the F10 key and you can fly around the arena. You can do this anytime. You can do this during live games as well. I don't know why it makes you fly when you're in solo play, but in normal gameplay, when you're playing with your friends, if you're dead or something, or even if you're alive, you can detach your camera and have a remote viewing experience, do a little bit of scouting. It's really cool to use to explore the levels and see the scenery from different perspectives. But I also just think it's really cool because I use it to take screenshots, which is awesome. I'll explain that when I get to a couple more pieces of that puzzle. We then, after that, have Character Cosmetics View Improved. This one is one that a lot of people are very interested in. If I go into Operatives here and I go into Cosmetics, for instance, people are always interested in my body here. Like, what is my armor? There it is, the Pious Warrior's armor. Okay, this one is not currently on sale. And the problem is for a lot of players, these are all the cosmetics that you own. These are all the cosmetics that are available by accomplishing penances and stuff, but then you don't see all of the cosmetics that are available through the store. So look how many cosmetics are available through the store, and then the ones with the price tags on, those are the ones that are currently in there. So you can see every cosmetic that has ever existed in the game for the Zealot, or for any class, and then you can click on them and you can see like, okay, that what it actually looks like in person, which is awesome. This also allows you to just like add it to a preview list here and then pretend like you have it on your character. So you can kind of play dress up. If you don't want to expend the money, you can press preview and then you can play dress up in here and you can get your look looking exactly like it wants to, and then you'd be like, okay, whenever that shows up in the shop, or maybe right now, I'll purchase it. Super, super cool. Another one by another fire one by Alf. Chat block, really simple. If you type in chat normally, you just get hit by enemies, but if I type chat, I will block. Awesome, right? So you can defend yourself while you're typing your team. What the fuck, you idiots? Okay, chat block. Then we got clear smoke. That is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of having the smoke grenade from the veteran block your line of view, it just puts a big gray circle on the ground that you know specifically, if you're standing inside that, you're going to get the dodge buff, and it won't block your vision. Just reducing some nonsense vision obstruction in the game and stops your teams from griefing you. Commodore's Vestures improved. Same thing as Character Cosmetics View improved, but it will show, you can preview the Commodore's Vestures onto whatever character you have of that type, rather than having to change between characters and stuff. And you can hit that preview button as well to see exactly what it would look like. Creature Spawner. That is how I was able to create this big guy right here, right? So normally, there's a bunch of enemies in here. Well, using Creature Spawner, I can print as many enemies as I want, and I can turn their AI on and make them come at me, bro. Why did all these guys not go? Okay, they're thinking about it. They're thinking about it. But then I can also just delete all of it once. I can make myself invincible or not. I can turn back on the respawn so that everybody spawns in here. Yeah, every enemy in the game can be spawned in using Creature Spawner, so it's a great utility for testing and figuring out exactly how many hits or the best way to fight a certain enemy, training up your dueling skills. Super cool mod. I literally don't know if I'd be able to do most of my job without this mod being a thing. And it's definitely a feature that they should probably be included in the base game's Psychanium. Past creature spawner there, we have Crosshair HUD. Crosshair HUD and Custom HUD here are part of my custom UI, my custom HUD setup. I don't want to get into too much, but yeah, there's some of the things that make my custom UI able to show the information that it does. Past that, we have, as I saw right there a second ago, I should be using this one over here because it doesn't scroll down. But past that, we have Danger Zone. Super good mod. This one is absolutely crucial. I recommend this for like every player. I know that some players find it immersion breaking, but Danger Zone paints this radius. I get a ton of players asking about how I see the radius on bursters, and I think the reason they ask is because this is so good. This radius is so arbitrary in the base game, you have no idea that if I stand here, I'm actually safe. I actually won't get hit by this burster when he's right there. Oh, I forgot I had that mod on still. But yeah, I won't get hit by the burster when he's right there. But if I kill him when he's right here, I will get hit, right? Yeah, this is gonna hurt me. So yeah, having that mod, especially with as busy as Darktide is and how crazy everything gets these days, and there's so many bursters flying around all over the place and they can just be all janky, I think that's only fair. Plus it places that radius on barrels as well, which can sneaky explode and can be hidden and not make any noises. Yeah, I think that is just such a good mod. Disable screen effects. Disable screen effects. There are a ton of screen effects in this game. Let me give you some examples of some that you've probably experienced. If you ever use an alt and been like, holy shit, my entire screen is like red because I'm using Rampage. Have you ever been vomited on by a Burgle and say, oh my god, I can't see anything because like the Burgle slime is covering the entire screen? Have you ever been fighting a demon host and said, the screen is so green and like smeared out that I can't actually tell what the demon host is? And then perhaps like my least favorite of any screen effect, when you're on your last down, the game decides that a great way to give you good chances at surviving on your last wound is to make your screen like grayscale so that you can't actually see very many colors, so you're going to have a harder time discerning enemies, so you're more likely to die when you're on your last wound. I think that's super unfair and shitty. So yeah, this mod can remove all of those on-screen effects and can just give you the default screen effect no matter what. So if you don't want to have the on-screen effect when you're using like Shroud Field like this, where it makes your screen all gray, you can simply turn that off, and then you'll just have the regular screen, which is awesome. All those effects are available under there. Very, very cool mod for reducing that nonsense. Next up, we got Enemies Improved. Okay, so this is another one by Alf. This is such an involved mod. It's got a ton of different features, and as you can see here, if we go into the Enemies Improved menu, we can use this to add health bars to enemies. We can use it to show damage numbers. We can show debuffs. We can have it show certain special attacks, like it'll highlight enemies when they're about to shoot their trapper net or when they're about to overhead. It can highlight enemies when they're staggered. It can highlight enemies in general if they're a certain type of enemy. So right now you can see, like, look at these enemies in front of you. You might not notice it, but these enemies right here are very subtly like shimmering. And I did that to them because I find that a lot of times these enemies are indiscernible from the background in Darktide, and it's very, very hard to pick them out of the normal environments. So I have got them with a little bit of shimmer there so they can't like just hide in plain sight on me and then just shoot me. We've also got some very nice Christmas color highlights over here, boom, on all of these enemies, and that is because I think that these enemies should not be able to hide from you. I think that obviously the trapper is glowing and makes loud cackling. I think that the sniper has a laser that points directly to where they're at, but oftentimes in base game Darktide, you can't fucking see where they are because they are like hidden behind all this haze. And by the way, while I'm talking about it, I use reshade on my game, which is a post-processing effect that can actually cause your game to look way cleaner and way more visible. So like look at the enemies right now, right? Look at this set of enemies. This is with reshade. Watch when you turn off my reshade effects. See, everything is so much more blurry and like gray. This is the base game. It looks like it's smeared with Vaseline. So yeah, using reshade, definitely a big W. I recommend it highly. I have a tutorial on how to reshade the game and how to get reshade and stuff if you desire that. All right, going on from that mod, which I've not even scraped the servers of what Enemies Improved can do, but just note that I do use it. Oh wait, yeah, I also use it for health bars here. So I've got my damage over time effects or whatever debuffs will appear up there. Then I've got the health bar. Then I've got damage numbers. I've actually got it set up so that the damage numbers, they only appear in the Psychanium. They will not be there in the actual game because in the actual game, I think that's kind of cluttery. So I remove that with that. So it's a really, really cool mod with a ton of potential. I use this one instead of health bars these days. Enhanced descriptions. Very simply, it just gives you the actual information that you need about your talents, about your weapons or whatever. So for instance, when I look at a talent like Shroud Field here, it tells me exactly what buffs I'm going to be getting, and it will tell me exactly like what the effects of all these talents are. Specific things like it negates the Grimoire's passive corruption but not the initial 40 corruption, does not stack with the same aura. All that additional information that should be in the base game, this will be specific and non-ambiguous, whereas the base game's talent descriptions and weapon descriptions are completely ambiguous on a ton of fronts, which is really annoying. So I use this one very religiously. For the vacuum capsule, I've never heard of them, officer. FPS fix. This is a fix that overrides a change that was made in the last update where they have nerfed the FPS in menus because there was some sort of issue with like it consuming too much processing power or whatever. Personally, I find it really annoying to have a low FPS menu, so I've installed this so it combats that. Glow Cooldown. This is a mod by T-Dops, our friend has created this lovely exploding mod, our lovely party jibs. Now, what this is doing is giving my HUD there that little glowing ring effect. He's nativized that into its own mod rather than having it be a HUD tweaker effect. So yeah, that's what Glow Cooldown does, and you can change the color and all that stuff if you want to. That will work only really with my mod setup. And then, or wait, Glow Cooldown. We are then beyond that to guarantee ability activation. Oh my gosh. So the guarantee suite up here. The guarantee suite, these three right here, basically what they address is the fact that this game has an incorrect prioritization for swapping weapons versus attacking, or doing anything versus attacking. The game by default prioritizes attacking over doing anything else, which if you think about it, that is the wrong way about things. So if I am, for instance, if I turn off guarantee weapon swap, right? If I am, for instance, shooting an enemy with my bolt pistol, Jesus Christ, and then I decide to swap to my melee weapon and swing a strike, like say an enemy cruises up to me and I want to swap, what can happen without this mod is that you'll get stuck shooting. Oh, I think it maybe didn't refresh, but you'll get stuck shooting your weapon over and over and over when you didn't mean to. So I'll just do that. Yeah, so like right there, I pressed my quick swap button to swap to my melee and it didn't swap. And so yeah, that is really, really annoying when that happens, because you can get stuck. If this has probably happened to you if you don't have this mod, by the way, you will think that you definitely pressed the button to swap your weapon, but for some reason you just kept shooting with your gun and you then get hit, and it can happen multiple times in a row. And that's because the attack animation takes priority. When you press the swap button and then attack, the game goes, oh wait, you meant to attack, right? You meant to attack with the weapon you already had out. So it'll overwrite your swap, or it'll overwrite your weapon special, and it'll force you to attack instead. So that's what those three mods there do, is they just nullify that from existing by swapping the priorities. 100% absolutely essential mods right here. If you had to pick some mods to install that don't change anything else about the game, these three right here. Health bars. Basically the health bars that I already have through enemies improved, but I keep it as part of my mod set because some players say that enemies improved lowers their performance, and I want to keep it in there. It's currently toggled off, so it doesn't have any negative performance impacts, but yeah, I keep it off just as part of the mod set in case anybody wants to go back to the old way that I used to do things. HUD tweaker, a very, very important part. Oh yeah, hub hotkey menus. I don't know if I demonstrated that, but hub hotkeys allows you to teleport around to different things within the Morningstar. So I could like simply, when I'm in the Morningstar, actually I could press M to go to the mission terminal. I could press H to go to Havoc without actually walking my fat ass over there. Then beyond hub hotkeys, we had the HUD tweaker, a very, very important part of setting up my custom HUD and my custom UI. I use it to make minute tweaks to the positioning and the coloration and the size and the text of different things. That's how I have a different custom style of text in my UI down there, like why my Mr. E does not use the normal font or the normal font color for all that stuff. Then we go on to hybrid sprint. This allows you to tap sprint to run like this. And then when you release that, you can just simply walk again at normal speed. Normally your options are to toggle sprint, where if I sprint like this, the next time I start moving again, I'll automatically start sprinting. You don't always want to do that, right? If you stop sprinting to walk, chances are you want to start regaining stamina, right? So this allows me to tap sprint one time and sprint for as long as I'm holding down W. It'll even persist through slides like that, which is really, really awesome. Reduces some strain on my thumb because I use my thumb to sprint, and I definitely have to have it. Then we have Inspect from Party Finder. Allows me to, when I'm using the Party Finder system, to go and click on the person and like see what their gear is, so that I can check in whether or not they are using a build that I want to include in my little Havoc setup. It's for sweaty people. I'm not gonna beat around the bush, not gonna lie about it. Then we have Inspect from Social. Very similar thing here. I can go to Social. I can click on somebody. Oh man, I was hoping Jefficus would be there. Hold on, we're gonna wait. We're going to click on Hypnotic here. So Hypnotic, he's a very, very good player. He's playing Bonk, so he's got his Thunder Hammer, right? And I can see exactly what he's using. So if I wanted to try and be as good as him, I would go and copy his talents right from here. And yeah, it's just a really, really good way of figuring out when players are like performing really well. Like, what was that guy actually using? It can be very, very informative. I love being able to check out players' builds like that and just see what they're cooking up. Then we have kill feed improvements. Instead of having the brace your ears, instead of having the normal thing where when you kill a Poxhound and then you kill a second Poxhound, it would pop up like two Poxhound instances up there in the top left corner. It's just gonna say Poxhound ×3, right? And that is what is what's doing this. So that just keeps this from being super cluttered at that top corner up there. Where were we at? So loadout names, this allows me to name my loadouts. As we can see in here, I have not made very good use of it, but yeah, I think that if you go in here, you could type right here, I could say like, this is knife, right? Instead of having to guess what the fuck it actually says, which is awesome. Then we have Master Item Community Patch. This is a dependency. You have to have this in order to run the improved, or the character cosmetics view improved to load all the items in the game. Mission speedrun timer simply puts a speedrun timer in the top left corner so I can tell how long I've been in a mission. Pretty fun. More characters in loadouts adds more characters in loadouts. Works really well with loadout names. Morningstar dialogue improved. I don't like when the characters in the Morningstar yap. When they have their little interactions, because I'm oftentimes trying to record and talk in there. So this one, it might just be for me. But yeah, I turned them off in the Morningstar so that I can walk around in there without them interrupting me. Be like, Masozi, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that. Numeric UI, another great, big, important mod that adds a lot of effects to the UI. Let me go ahead and show you with something here. Let's go ahead and load into a little game arena. So when I have these, when I have the numeric UI, what you'll see in my HUD for my allies in the corner. Oops, I don't have any allies. When we can fix this. Restart. Look at all these mods I'm demonstrating in real time. So with these allies here, you can see in the bottom left corner, down there, I have a HUD that shows the actual number value of the toughness they have, the health they have, the percentage they have for ammo. I even have some more stuff that's not numeric UI on the left side that shows how many grenades they have and what their ultimate is and what their cooldown is. So very, very cool. Gives you a ton of information that the base game should provide. Also tells me exactly what my toughness and my health values are. So yeah, and also numeric UI also provides that radius on the health kit. You can actually see the external clear circle around the edge of the health kit rather than guessing where the health kit extends to, which is cool. Then, after numeric UI, we have Of Improved Scoreboard. Of Improved Scoreboard is an extension for the scoreboard. It adds more stats to the scoreboard. We'll get to scoreboard in a second. Party Gibbs. I mean, this is what I've been demonstrating the whole time, right? Party Gibbs is a silly mod that T-Dops made. It has two options here. Well, actually, it has three options, right? Party Gibbs, when you are looking at the menu down here, it has an option to change the visual effect between some purple gas that puffs out or the sound between purple gas or the Ogre Frag Grenade for when you gib an enemy, meaning you like cut off a limb. So you can just make this really, really stupid. It also has this option up here that doesn't work intentionally, which is pretty funny. So if you do want to use this mod and have it disabled, it's going to be in the mod pack, but it's going to be under here and it's going to be disabled by default. So I'll disable it right there. So this one actually does work. Perhaps, unfortunately. Okay, there we go. So that's Party Gibbs. Then we have Perspectives. Oh boy, Perspectives is a really cool mod. So what Perspectives allows us to do is go into third person. Look at that. Now you can set this up any way you like. This can be enabled to act like over one shoulder or over the other. You can position the camera really far back or really high up or wherever you want and then play the game like that. A lot of players enjoy this game in third person because it looks all right. Another thing that's really cool about this mod is that you can use it to take screenshots, as I'll show in a second here. So yeah, we got Perspectives there, and then past Perspectives, I should use this list because it's a little bit more complete. We have Pink Eye. This is a exclusive mod to the Mystery Mod Pack. If you are a Havoc player and you have a hard time determining which enemies have the actual pink buff on them that heals all the enemies around them, you are not alone. So I asked T-Dops to make this mod for me, and yeah, it does actually help a lot with determining those enemies. Player outlines. I'm certain you noticed right here that all of my players here are very vibrantly outlined, including me. I think this is absolutely essential. If you're a player who has a hard time keeping track of your allies, or you're always swinging your allies thinking they're enemies, I have that problem a lot. This is going to be good for you because it just gives you, like, at a glance, way better awareness of where your allies are in the mix, especially when they're far away. It'll show that outline, which is so much better than the bare minimum, like, very faint outline the game gives you by default. This used to be a base game feature, by the way, and they removed it for some reason, and they never brought it back. Sad. We then have immersive tagging. This allows me to, when I'm in first person, I can actually see what's going on. I can point at stuff. I can, when I'm tagging an enemy, like say for instance I spawned a sniper or something. If I point at them, I'll point at them. Like I'll actually point, which I think is really cool. Or I can just point, and you can like poke your ally's eye out with it, and you can point at the thing. Ogrins can't do this unfortunately because they don't have an animation kit for it. That is immersive tagging, and then, or what was it called? Yeah, immersive tag. Why is that? That's not alphabetical at all. Quick chat. Quick chat just enables you to put automatic typing into the chat. So I have it set up so it's like good luck, have fun when you start the game, and it says GG when you complete the game. You can also set it up so that if players drop health packs, it'll announce to the whole team that someone has dropped a health pack or an ammo pack to keep everyone aware. You can customize with lots of stuff. So if you're a no voice chat Andy, this might be really helpful for you. Ration pack. Similar, I suppose. This one will show how many charges are left on the ammo crate, so that if there's like 2 ammo crate charges left, you can know not to steal both of them from the ogre that needs some too. Recolor boss health bars. Normally in games, there is a cap of 2 boss health bars that can appear at the top of the screen up here, which can be really annoying because the game has gotten crazy and loves to spawn way more than 2 bosses. So this will enable it so that you can have like, you know, that many up there. And I'm going to pause the game because that's going to be a nightmare in like 2 seconds. Yeah, so that's a really, really good one to enable you to know what's like going on, because especially if you're playing Havoc, there's so much stuff going on. Scan helper. This highlights highlights items in the environment that are the subject of the little scan things. You play that little scan game where you go around the little thing and you point your little radar dish at it, you point your aspects at it. This will just highlight it so you know exactly what it is. Cut that trash out of there. Scoreboard. As I was saying earlier, the scoreboard is this right here. So the scoreboard plus my oven-proof scoreboard plugin, that all combines to give you the information here. Now, I've curated my scoreboard to be exactly the stuff that I want. There's many more options than this. You can include stuff like how much plastic did you pick up, but I tend to keep it to exactly the stuff here because I think this is the stuff that's important to know how well I and other players are performing. So you can see the things like your actual critical rate with your melee and your ranged weapon. You can see how much damage you did to what type of enemies, how many type of certain enemies you killed, how much damage you took, and what the sources of your damage are. Very, very important for improving your skills and knowing how you're doing, I think. Then we come down here to simple speed meter. That's in my top right corner. As you can see, I'm moving at 0.36 right now. But yeah, this can tell you how fast you're moving. Very nice to get an idea of like how fast you're cruising when you're using any given weapon. Know which weapon you're actually technically faster with when you're running with it out. So yeah, it's a little bit of optimization there for fast people. Smaller talent tree. This squishes down the talent tree on the y-axis. So when I'm in here, I can look at my talent tree. See, it's actually like, look how long this page is, right? It goes all the way down to here. This is how long the talent tree would be if I didn't squash it down. You'd be scrolling for days. So I have it squashed down so it's not like, you know, you're scrolling for 8 hours in order to see all of it, because I don't know why they did that. It's really annoying. We then have solo play. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, right? You just saw me pop it up a second ago, but if you have solo play installed and you type /solo, you can pop up this screen right here. You can pick any mission in the game. You can pick any difficulty. You can pick whoever you want to be your little person chatting in your ear, whatever side missions, whatever special condition, like you want pox gas or dogs or whatever, and then press play on the game. It'll spawn you in with bots, and when you're in a solo play mission, you can do whatever you want. You can spawn enemies, you can fly around. Well, if you have the mods to do those things, you can just straight up cheat. Like, it's pretty cool. So it allows you to do lots of testing in real life. Then you also have Havoc mode over here, so you can simulate a Havoc mission. So you can just run a solo Havoc forward if I wanted to. Unfortunately, you can't bring your friends into a solo mission. This is hosted locally on your PC. It's not using Darktide's servers. So yeah, you're like not able to connect to the online experience with that going on. But solo play is a super, super cool mod, and it's very funny because there's always players on the Steam forums demanding it, but the very mere meaning that they're on the Steam forums demanding solo play means they could just go download the fucking mod and play solo. Stim's pickup icon just shows a colorful icon where the stims are. You saw earlier I had a red stim in my inventory. If I didn't have that, it would just show as a stim, like a bland white colored stim. You would have no idea what your team is actually holding. This will tell you my team is holding a yellow stim or a green stim or whatever, so that you can have that information, which is really important. Super impact basically just juices the impacts of everything that you hit, giving it a bunch more physics and just flying backwards. I have mine tweaked just so perfectly. I have it set to 6.9 because I think that's a very nice amount of impact where the enemies fly off comically, but not like teleporting away super freaking fast level of comically. So that's a really fun one there. It's just for fun, just like Party Gibbs is. Then we have Talent Tree UX. This enables me to do all sorts of awesome stuff with the talent tree. Some of these things, like swapping from Blitz to Blitz, have been enabled in the base game, right? You can do this on your own now. You could just swap from one Blitz to another. However, what you can't do is say, hey, instead of this talent right here, I want to swap to that talent right there. If you wanted to do that in the base game, what you'd have to do is unallocate this talent, then place this talent in, then remove this talent, then place it there. And then you can see that it glitches out. But if I want to do this with this mod, I can just simply double click. Why is that not working? Huh? Okay, I mean, it's supposed to work, but anyway. Yeah, you can just right click and then allocate it over there. Or I could double click in a situation like this, and I can swap between these two talents without unallocating everything below it or without freeing up spare points. You can also double right click to unallocate everything below a certain point like that in one fell swoop, which is awesome. Using this mod, you can like pull apart and put back together a build in like no time. It's super good and efficient for making builds quickly and not having to worry about it. That's one of the ones I miss the most when I don't have mods in my game. Talent UI. So at the left side of the screen, bottom left side of the screen there, you can see my bots, and you'll also see that there is a UI to the left of their little portrait frames that has their grenade numbers, and it has their ability icon that if they actually used abilities, because they're bots, but if they were able to use abilities, I would actually see their cooldown in seconds, how long they've got to go, and what abilities, what grenades they're using. Just super crucial information that you would probably want to know about your allies in any serious game, but yeah, we don't get it in this game. Then beyond that, we have only a few left to go. Threat detector. Okay, so I mean, I guess I should just go back to solo, or no, I should just restart this one rather than having to fight 18 captains. So threat detector is a mod that TDOPS came out with, and I think it's very useful. I don't know how much I'll use it, but it might be really good for new players. But for instance, when I have an enemy like a dog or a charger, a mutant, those enemies, when they spawn in, they choose a target immediately. So watch these dogs, right? One of these dogs, the one that's in red, is going to be targeting me, and everybody else is targeting another character. So I need to be looking out for the red dog. That's what it's telling you. So yeah, this mod is basically when you have a special on the map, it'll highlight it and it'll say, hey, this special has chosen you as its target, which is great because sometimes there's like a really ambiguous burster or a really ambiguous dog that's like running in your general direction, but you're like, I don't know, am I supposed to be the one who's like dodging this or pushing it? And this will tell you definitively, yes, that dog is coming for your ass. Get ready to push. That burst is about to jump on you. Get ready to push it. You're the person who's supposed to be diffusing it. Tree helper. I don't think I need this anymore, so I should just turn that off. Yeah, that's just useless because I already have Auspex Logos that does this automatically. It does the tree at the end of Have Draco. True solo quality of life. As we saw a second ago, when I loaded into my solo game, I can actually disable the bots. I can set it to restart the failed missions, and I can pause the game when I'm playing solo or in the Psychanium at any time. And this is where I'll show you how I do one of my favorite tricks. So using like 4 mods together, I can create awesome screenshots for this game. So first one is perspectives, where I can zoom my character to the third person. If you don't have your character in third person, you can't see your own character in the screenshots. Then I can use custom HUD to toggle my UI off so it's not on there. And then I can use true solo quality of life to pause the game at a certain point that I want, like this. And then I can use that camera free flight mod, and then I can move my camera around and position and take whatever screenshot I want. Now, notably, I do have player outlines on, so I should turn that off so I can get a better picture here. But yeah, this is how I get so many of the screenshots I use in my thumbnails and stuff. If you like to zoom around the map and like explore the map and just kind of see how it looks and get you know, candid screenshots of our favorite enemies out here, being able to pause the game with solo play like that and then get these detailed images, I think it's so cool. Darktide has a really beautiful environments and is a really beautiful game, but it's missed a lot of times, so I like to use that to draw attention to it. And then we've only got like 2 left to go, don't we? Yeah. All right. We're all the way down here with true level. This is just going to show how many effective levels you have. So when I turn my UI back on, right, you can see there, I have 702 levels with 40 Havoc rating. That means that effectively I have completed, instead of being a level 30, where I've leveled up to 30, I've effectively leveled up to 702 by playing this character so much. And that can let you know when someone has a tremendous amount of experience, and then you can use Inspect from Social to go and steal their build. Pretty cool. I love that one. I think it should be a base game feature as well. UI extension just adds more functionality to the UI. It's a sort of dependency for something else. Then we have uptime. This enables me to press F8 and I can go in here and I can see what the uptime on certain blessings was. This is maybe only useful for autists like me, where I want to see exactly how effective certain talents were, or like whether or not something was a waste, or whether I should be, that's actually a big source of my power. Really, really good for being, sort of fine-tuning your efficiency. That's uptime. Then we have Valkyrie Blitz Ingress. It skips the yap in the drop ship. So normally you'll get one of your handlers who's got a little bit of a chatter to provide you the briefing on the mission. That, however, delays the loading. So if they are chatting, the game is loading in the background. Normally the game loads the map after about 5 to 10 seconds. But if you have like kayaks, he'll take 30 full seconds to chatter, and that means you're just sitting there waiting for the game to load in for an extra 20. And that can be really annoying if you get crashed out of the game and you want to jump back in, you got to wait through that slow-ass motherfucker again. So this can skip that entirely and drop you back into the game within 5 seconds. And if everybody on the team has this, then you all skip it together and you'll just instantly load into the game, which is awesome. VFX Swapper, another great one by T-Dops here. So just to demonstrate, I should unpause the game, but just to demonstrate here, if I had, say for instance, a Pox Bomber normally spawns that big ass cloud of smoke, right? Watch this. So instead of having a big cloud of gas that like covers my entire vision and stuff, it'll spawn a low pool of gas like this so that I can see over much better, which is really cool. And how did you manage that? And this is, not only is this better like visibly, but also this is way better on your frames. So I use this mod not necessarily to like erase so many screen effects that I don't want to be dealing with, but it's very important for me to erase a lot of particle effects when I'm running frame gen, because frame gen goes wild trying to generate some of these particle effects with gas and rotten armor. So you can remove almost every particle effect in the game and replace it with something else if you want, or just take it out entirely if you wish. Very, very good. Definitely it will improve your performance. And then finally, weapon cosmetics view improved. It's the exact same thing as with the cosmetics view improved way up that we talked about at the very beginning of the game, where instead of talking about the armor cosmetics, you can look at the cosmetics for a certain weapon. So I can see that these are all the ones I own, and these are all the knives that are available in the game. So I can be pretty confident that I own the coolest knives, because I have this one, and this one, and this one. So I'm winning, definitely. Okay, and that is every mod that is currently in my mod pack, guys. How cool is that? Now, yeah, hopefully I gave you some good recommendations along the way. You are the ultimate determiner of what you should be installing in your mod pack, and yeah, hopefully this helps you to get some ideas about some really cool stuff that's out there. Go watch my tutorial on how to mod if you don't know how to do that yet, and thank you to those of you who are members or have decided to become members off this video. I hope it helps, and I hope my mod pack is very useful for you. Make certain you're using the mod tech support channel if you have any issues with getting it set and running, and watch in there for updates, which I will put out regularly. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Thanks for making it this far. I'll see you soon. Mr. Yaddy here. Bye-bye. Whee!